Hey guys, what's up? We're back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the Corvette, mostly because the new Corvette ZR1X came out, but I'm going to sort of do a little overview of the Corvette and kind of how it kind of changed my view on American cars. Now, I was pretty much of that view that a lot of my friends had of American cars. Like, they looked really good, like a 1970s Dodge Charger coupe in black or orange. It was definitely a looker, but like when it came to the actual, performance of the vehicle, and I'm talking about the overall performance, not just the straight line acceleration, when it came to handling, braking, and all other stuff, doesn't even come close to some of the, cars that we would think that are lesser than, such as like compact cars of that era. And we all know compact cars and American don't go in the same sentence. But where I will give the Americans due, where I didn't really judge them all that much, was based on their V8s. Their V8s were a pretty damn good, they were pretty damn good for what they were. Yeah, so their V8s were very, very good, and that's what they were known for. They were known for their big, burly, manly power V8s, and I don't blame them. Even if it doesn't handle that good, I get into one of those cars, and I don't know, I just loved the way how the power came on. I just loved the way they sound. They were very unique in their own respect, and I don't know, there was just something about them. Yeah, there literally just was something about these American cars that they just had a certain charm to them. But none of my friends saw that. All they just thought American cars were just crappy cars that handled like dog shit. But one car that I kind of looked at was the Corvette. Now, I'm not no classic car guy. I don't really like the first, second generations. I mostly I do believe it was a C2 or C3. I'll put the picture up on the screen. This particular generation is what got me into Corvettes. It just looked really, really good, and it didn't look like any other American cars. American cars at the time were usually like pretty big and bulky, and they just weren't, what's that word? They just weren't, slim and nimble. That just wasn't their thing. They were more concerned about, being powerful, but also being comfortable at the same time. So this generation, I don't know all much about Corvettes, but I'm pretty sure this probably handles a lot better than some of those big boats that were available during the time. Now, the C4 is when I really like to start liking the Corvette, and this was like mainly my introduction into the Corvettes, which was mostly playing video games and customizing the Corvette, tuning it up and stuff like that. That was probably my kind of exposure when it came to performance-oriented Corvettes, even though I had like no real life experience with a Corvette at all. I kind of understood the appeal. It was a lot smaller. It handled actually pretty good. I don't know how well that would translate into real life, but yeah, the Corvette, I don't know, I just drove the Corvette more and more, and overall it was a pretty decent car. This goes with the Dodge Viper as well, although people will say it has shitty build quality, the interior. I don't think that's necessarily the point of the whole car. Good thing the Civic SI handles great, especially with these tires. But anyways, yeah, when the C4-01 came out, it was a pretty, it was a marvel of technology. It was one of the earlier cars that had a 6-speed manual transmission, a car that actually focused on handling, and Lotus, believe it or not, actually had a key role to play in that. I do believe in this time, for what my father told me, because he's more of a GM guy, he told me around this time Lotus was acquired by GM, so they probably used some of their know-how and resources. But this was probably the first Corvette that I actually took seriously. I was like, this is actually pretty decent. This is an American car, but I would never even think to look at American compact cars because, obviously that perception, But come to C5 Corvette, really, I didn't really pay attention to this much. I kind of used it a couple times in Gran Turismo, but here's the thing nowadays. In 2025, the C5 is what I would consider to be a sports car bargain. Like, you can't get an actual sports car, a V8 engine. I think they produce around 350 to 400 horsepower. I don't know the exact figure number, but they produce a good amount of power, and it's fun, but you do have to modify the suspension a little bit because it's a little bit outdated. But yeah, that was a Corvette I didn't really pay attention to. The C6, however, this will completely diminish whatever I thought of America. Even muscle cars too. And, it made me appreciate them more. So when the C6 came out, this was actually the first time I had a real life experience in a C6. It wasn't the Z06 and it wasn't the Z01. It just was a base model, and I think it had like a certain package on it. Also, guys, if you see me looking down like this, I'm just kind of looking on my phone because clearly you can tell where my money is spent more on performance mods than stereo systems. But anyways, getting back to the point, the C6, this was my first time, and when I felt the acceleration, I was like, holy smokes, this is great. And I loved everything about it, just because naturally aspirated. I love naturally aspirated cars, even though I've dabbled in the turbo world a couple times. Naturally aspirated engines, that just gets me going. That's sort of my forte, my weapon of choice when it comes to cars, I guess. But yeah, such a large displacement V8, and it felt good. The car, granted, that was a car you didn't want to push, and that was really weird about the Corvettes. Like, the base model was it felt totally different compared to the Z06 and Z01 respectively. And yeah, when it accelerated, I just loved the way how the engine felt, and I was like, whoa, this is really good for an American car. Now, the Dodge Viper at the time, you can kind of say it's in the same ballpark. It has its own different character. It's just a wild beast, and you need to be very, very highly skilled to drive to bring out the true potential of the car, because I haven't seen much people bring out the true potential of that car, because it's a very difficult car to drive at the limit. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, do not drive that car at the limit, because most likely you will crash. It's one of those, I should call them widow makers. You're in control of it 100%, and there's not a lot of cars out today that kind of give you all that, because everything is heavier. You got all this safety equipment. Even like some of the supercars, it's kind of the same story, but to each is his own. Some people like that new school stuff. Some people like that crazy old school vibe. Now, the C7, I didn't really too much care for it. I wasn't a fan of the styling. I respect it, of course, but I don't know, I just wasn't really feeling it. The C8 now, this was something I didn't even expect, because I don't really follow Corvettes all like that. When it came out, I kind of got the vibe. I don't know if anyone else got this vibe, but I feel like that's what the NSX should have been. Not like minus the V8, of course, because Honda probably would never develop a V8 for its passengers cars. I just don't see that happening anytime soon. It's kind of in a similar concept, because the Corvette does have a hybrid version. The E-Ray, and the E-Ray is a pretty damn fast car, despite people being like, oh, it's hybrid. It's pretty good. Like, in terms of acceleration from 0 to 100, you ain't beating that hybrid with the electric motor assisting you. No way. But that goes to show, like, they're kind of beating Honda at their own game, which is hilarious, but also understandable at the same time. Also, it's a mid-engine Corvette. That's like the first time. And you have the Z06, you have the ZR1. When the ZR1 came out, I was like, holy shit, 1,000 horsepower in a car that literally cost that little. This is competing with Tesla Plaids and everything, and it's crazy. We mock the Americans, for being, not the best handling cars, or whatever. But look at this. They're totally killing it now when everyone is going to EVs, hybrid systems. They're killing it. Like, no one makes wild cars anymore. I'm not saying they don't make wild cars. They're kind of just locked us. It's locked off to us regular folk. And And this is like one of the cars that you can actually do that. You can achieve that in other cars too. Like if you're a mod guy, oh, trust me, if you like modding cars, you could make something that fast. It's gonna cost you a lot of money now, probably under 100 grand, but or even probably close to it. Let's be honest. I don't even have any words for it. That's how crazy it is. But yeah, the Corvette, and also I would say a little bit of the Focus ST, because my main realm is in performance sport compact cars, performance sport that's such a tongue twister to say. Performance compact cars, that's sort of like my forte, because I own one as a daily driver, and I just like everything they kind of stand for, and there's just like a whole bunch of stuff you can do to them. It's crazy. It's unbelievable that, you know, for that price point, yeah, it's still expensive, but you kind of have to look at it, you know, this is like hypercar fast. This is like completely insane. I never thought a manufacturer would do anything like that, because usually manufacturers like to, I wouldn't say like hide the potential. They kind of, you know, lower it in a way where it's very reliable. You're not overstressing the engine. And if you really truly want to, you know, push the car to its limits, you know, you got to modify it, you got to tune it, all that stuff. Coming out of the factory like that is just completely insane. It's just completely unheard of. And in this day and age, you know, it sucks that cars are expensive, but man, there are some good cars that are coming out. This is probably one of the cars that kind of surprised me. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much, I could say the Corvette is probably one of the very few American cars that changed my perception on how I view American cars, although my friends still haven't changed their mind. I'm not saying I'm fully converted, but definitely, I definitely think some American cars should be taken a little more seriously, or some of them should, you know, some people should just, you know, revisit them and see, you know, how it was during that time. One guilty pleasure car that's sort of American that I kind of want to dabble in. It doesn't handle all that well compared to Hondas or Toyotas, but the Neon SRT4, I don't like how the car looks, but like just what it stands for. Like, you know, let's say I slap on a big turbo kit, rebuild the engine, make some crazy horsepower, and it would be still pretty unique because not many people have it. But yeah, that's sort of a guilty pleasure car. But I am a sucker. I do need my cars to handle well, but they're not a force to be reckoned with. But kind of sucks they were a little bit unpopular, and I kind of know why. You know, you got that crappy build interior quality. The paint wasn't that good. Just wasn't a pleasant place to be, but it was cheap speed. That's what it was, cheap speed. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Just a little bit of a different style. Hopefully the audio comes across. If you made it this far, hopefully the audio isn't too bad, because I have changed my mic setup. Hopefully it's not bad. I got the windows up. It's actually one of the hottest days. Literally, summer literally started a couple days ago, and it's hot. So is that an Integra Type R behind me? Oh shoot, I think it is. Oh no, it's not. It's painted Phoenix though, but I think it's just a regular one. Looks good though. I was just about to say that's a wrap, but but now it's a wrap. All right, guys, see you in the next one.